Hello, once more. Welcome to the You Can Be Anything podcast. And again, as I said, for this year, I'm going to be running fireside chats. And today on the podcast, I have someone that you've seen before, somebody that you're going to see again and again until the good news breaks. So I hope you're all doing great. And I do appreciate you all, those of you who take your time to spend time on the You Can Be Anything podcast page. I appreciate you for every like, for every love, for every share, every follow. Know that I do appreciate you. Thank you all so much for being on this journey with me, and to all my guests that have been and who will be. Again, So Babes appreciates you all. Thank you all so much for trusting me, for trusting my vision, and for trusting this journey. So as I said, today we have somebody on the podcast who we've had him here before a couple of times, and we're going to have him a couple of times, like more times. That's what I mean. And today we want to get an update from him, like, hey, how is the journey going for him? What is happening? Like, hey, how are the temperatures around? So again, we're going to have Gabriel Njinimbot. Gabriel Njinimbot is one of our Cameroonian brothers, a son of the soil, Bali, Nyonga. I hope I got that right. He'll correct it when he gets up here. And again, he's running for Congress in the MD4 district. Thank you so much, Nigebi, for coming on the platform again. It is always an honor to have you. And I always look forward to talking to you whenever you have a chance. Thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me again. I think this is the third time. And yes, you got the Balinyonga part of it correct.
I was like, I hope it is the right one. That's amazing. Thank you so much. This is great. Thanks again, and welcome to the You Can Be Anything podcast.
Sure.
Awesome. So we are going to share this. Again, if you join us, kindly share. I'm going to give Nigebi a second to share this as well on his platform. So let's do this. Let me get the link. Put it in your WhatsApp, Nigebi, then you can go ahead and share wherever you want to share. That's the link I just sent to you. And then you can put it now in any of the groups you would like to put that in. And let's do this.
Did you send it to my WhatsApp too, or just on Facebook?
I sent it to your WhatsApp. I don't think I have admin access to the group. So if you want to put it in the group, that's fine. You can go ahead and put it in there, and we have whoever is available to join us join.
Yes, let me do that real quick before we get rolling.
Yes, that's fine.
Let's see.
Amazing. If you've joined us, please kindly click the share button, share the video, click the like so we can get going with this. Let's see where Nigebi is at on this journey. So let's give him a minute to share this on the different platforms, then we can get going.
Okay. I think
You got it?
I think yep. Thank you so
much. Great. Again, this is great. So for those of you who join again, we are going to do this. We're going to take any questions you have. Again, this is a chat. As I said, it's a fireside chat. We want to be able to talk about the different things that have been happening on this journey if you're running for Congress, right? But before we get into this, if somebody got onto our show today and maybe they happen not to have watched our previous shows, let's go back to that. One of my favorite questions. Throwing it out there to you to tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm sure you have answered this question a million times already, but hey, please, let's do it. What can you say? Who will you say Gabriel Njinimbot is?
Yes, I've absolutely gotten this question at least 5 million times in the past 14 months since I started, was running for the United States Congress. And I would just sum it up by saying that again, Gabriel is my name and Njinimbot is my last name, originally from Cameroon, West Africa, and came to this country 25 years ago. Seems like just yesterday, but it was 25 years ago when I left home raised by parents who, had very little and never had a chance to see the four walls of country school. Believe that their son could be something, and they sent me over here with just $100. Say go, and I came, started off working at a seafood restaurant here in Maryland, and took computer classes, became a systems engineer, and with the help of student loans, I became a lawyer as well. I opened up a couple of small businesses. I have a family, a beautiful wife, and three children, now big. And now I'm, running for one of the highest offices in the land and one of the most powerful legislative branches of government on the planet, the United States Congress.
Yeah, so again, we all heard that. And if you're doubting, or if you're thinking, who are these people you see, you are on the You Can Be Anything podcast. Okay, I named it You Can Be Anything for a reason, because I know the potential we have. I know what we have in us. And I know that in as much as we can have roadblocks, limitations as we go out into the world to explore, we also have that potential to break down these roadblocks. We have that potential to do great things. And Gabriel is just one of those stories. And that's why he's on here. That's why he's on here to share his journey. That's why he's on here to give us updates on how things have been going for him. So thank you again, Nigebi, for going through, for telling us about yourself. It's always that journey of, hey, I came from here, I came from nowhere, and today this is where I am. And this is just to encourage you who is listening to us, you who stumbles across this video, to know that that thing you want to become, that dream you have been nurturing in you, you do have the capability to make that dream come true. All you need to do is put in the work. Do what you have to do. You just heard the tons of things that Nigebi did, starting from working in a seafood restaurant, into learning different skills, to getting into IT, becoming a lawyer. He's also an entrepreneur. And today, he is running for this prestigious office in the United States. Nigebi, I'm so proud to know you. I'm so proud to say that, hey, I know him. And with this, let's go ahead and talk about what is happening. How has your journey been so far on this congressional run? Yay, did I get that right?
Yeah.
Yes, let's talk about that a bit. How was it for you?
So thank you for having me again on the show. For the past 14 months, it's been truly an amazing journey. You remember when I came to the show, as I announced my run 14 months ago,
Yes.
and 14 months down the road, I didn't envision myself, being in this position. And I've had a tremendous amount of support starting from my family, my wife, my children, my immediate family, and by extension, people in my neighborhood, people in my city, in my town, the city of Laurel, and the district, and the country, and the world at large, because I have people literally listening from Cameroon and other parts of the world. And believe it or not, that's what has inspired me, has pushed me in the past 14 months to be here today. And we are exactly 100 days away from the Victory Day, May 14th. So 9:30 p.m. on May 14th, it will be a whole different story on this show. But to tell you, it's been an amazing journey. It's not been very easy because the district has 1 million people that we have to cover. It's been very tough, but hey, we're from Cameroon, right? We're from Africa, we can do it.
Impossible n'est pas camerounais.
Yes. But I do believe that with the kind of support I have had from everyone, including yourself, and the work we're putting in, my campaign team, my staff, everything will go just well come May 14th.
Yeah, it's been a journey. 14 months ago, I hosted Nigebi here, and he told us that, hey, I have some good news. And I brought him here not to talk. The first time I brought him, he was not about to talk about his run. It was about talking his book, From Meager Beginnings. And that book caught my attention because it tells the story of most of us who have left Cameroon and are out here. It tells the story of most of us who we probably had something going. We went to school already. We started doing something. Again, that is my story. You who is watching, that's probably your story. But he came into the US and he started all over again. He did not come from much, right? He did not even come from where I came from. Right. So he came from very meager beginnings. He came from that young man who came into the US with $100 and was able to find his way and was able to make his dream come true. He went through what we call the real American dream. And today, 14 months later, that is the story he told us, that 14 months ago, when he was on this show, we talked about his book, From Meager Beginnings. And then he announced to us that he was running for Congress. And that was just one of the biggest news I heard that year. And today we are here to get an update on what is happening. And as you can hear, the shout out is going to all of you who are supporting this journey, all of you who are in one way or the other, whether they campaign or whether contributing into, again, we appreciate you all. We thank you. Gaby, one thing I know for sure that we did see a lot when we started was all the challenges that were coming your way, right? And we spoke about this in one of the episodes, one of the 2 episodes that you've been here on. And again, you talked to us about how you were battling some of those challenges. Would you say that things have gotten better as you draw closer to it's 100 days from now? Again, guys, we are doing the countdown from today. It's 100 days from now. And we'll be able to celebrate again to say, hey, one of ours has made it. Would you say that the challenges, have you been able to have all of this in control? Or would you say that you're still facing tons of these challenges as the days get closer?
Absolutely. So when I started this off, it was a little bit confusing, obviously, because it's my first time to run for office of this magnitude. But as time went on, I grappled with certain things as I went along, and I learned a lot. I got more support from even people I don't know, and it's helped me tremendously to galvanize more people who would potentially vote for me, and I've been able to go out to supermarkets, gyms, the shopping mall, in churches, and talk to people. And it's made things a lot more easy than what I thought. 14 months ago, it felt like, I was trying to eat this elephant that is bigger than myself. But as we move closer to May 14th, the elephant gets smaller because I've been eating it in little bits and pieces,
Yep. Yes.
And as they say, don't try to swallow the elephant as a whole, just eat it in bits and pieces, and sure enough, you're going to eat all of it. So, not saying that it's very easy, it's very challenging, but entirely possible. And it's gotten really better. It's gotten really better because as the days get closer, I can see the green light at the end of the tunnel. I can see how entirely possible this mountain is climbable. And I want to just take a moment to say that to anybody who has a challenge that seems unsurmountable, those things that people tell you not to do, don't listen to the naysayers. And do it. Because, when I initially started, when I put out the first word, very few people like yourself actually believe that I can be here today talking about this race. Yep. I heard somebody said that when I told them I was running for Congress, they're like, "You're running for what?" Because they couldn't believe that someone like myself could be running for an office of that nature or that level. But it is entirely possible solely because you believe in yourself more. So anybody who is listening to this show right now, and you have anything, I'm saying anything you think it's impossible, just go ahead and start it and eat that elephant piece by piece, and you will get there.
Look at that. Doesn't it feel like my show, the You Can Be Anything podcast, was built out of this? It feels like I spoke to you before I started this podcast. And whenever you speak, and especially when you talk about the challenges we feel when we are right here and the fact that we are out here, yes, it so happens that the people who will be able to vote for you are the people who live in the MD4 area or the MD4 district. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And again, the support that we have for you, but the one thing that stands is the fact that those who support your run, those who support the fact that you're willing, you've been doing this for this long. At some point, I'm sure that there are people who thought like you thought that you were going to back out, right? But you did not. You stood the challenges, and there is something you just said, like eating the elephant as you go by. One of the challenges we face in our community is the fact that people don't trust the process. People like get rich quick schemes. People want to do it and be there the next day. But watching you, being in your group, seeing the things that you're doing, watching the different campaigns, how you go out there, I see the boss with your face. I'm like, whoops, I know him. It feels good to see a campaign, but to see somebody on flyers, that it's somebody that you're relatable with, somebody that you can talk, somebody whose story actually relates to yours. So to me, you're such an inspiration. You're such a blessing. And I want to give a shout out all of you who are watching. Thank you so much. David Prince Valley, Quinta Galiga, I see all of you. Yes, his story is one to reckon with. And I see you too, Brian. I want to appreciate you all for joining. Nigebe, you talk about being able to just eat this elephant. You say it like, again, I know you mentioned that it's not easy. Eat this elephant as you go by. It's been 14 months and you're still doing this. Your story keeps growing. There is more to say about you. What would you say are some of the strategies that you have personally implemented to make sure that you don't give up on this? Giving up is our norm. I have started and given up on on thousands of things. But what would you say keeps you going on this race, that your energy level is still just the same? Like from day one till today, 100 days to go to May 14, you're still this energetic. What are your strategies? What are you doing? If you don't mind sharing with us.
Absolutely. So one of the things that keeps me going is the fact that I love what I do. I just love the fact that I'm up to a challenge that's seemingly unsurmountable, and a challenge that most people have told me that I shouldn't try. But the fact that I love it keeps me going. That's number one. Number two, I've spoken to tens of thousands of people in our district, people who look like yourself and myself, and who understand what it means to be ordinary, what it means to live below the middle class, what it means to earn a minimum wage, what it means to send our kids to public schools, what it means to work 16-hour shifts, what it means to work 3-4 jobs, what it means to be an immigrant, what it means to be a teacher, what it means to own a small business. And the fact that I have lived through all these things that I just listed keeps me going. And the fact that I understand fully well that in today's politics, the United States Congress, 87% of those who are in the United States Congress are very wealthy people and people with very rich connections to, superpowers and big banks. And they are so disconnected with people, ordinary people like you and I on Main Street. Keeps me going because I know that when I win the Congress, I will be the only person who can actually understand and fight for ordinary people in our community. And the reason is solely because our campaign is not funded by any corporation or any lobby, so I have no specific allegiance to them. I owe allegiance to ordinary people like you and I. And so that keeps me going every day. That was number two. The third reason why I could, I spend hours and hours and days and weeks on this thing is simply because of the amount of support I get. I feel so wonderful when I run at the gas station or at the grocery store and because I give my business, my flyer to just about any ordinary person I see on the street. And it's so fulfilling with the smile on their face, the reception they give me, the welcoming attitude they give me at churches or at the gym or anywhere I go. Plus, when I drive my campaign box truck on the street, I get text messages from people, I get emails, I get phone calls from people. That
I
tells
saw.
me they resonate with this grassroots candidate who came from nowhere and is running for this office. And so these things actually keep me inspired. They keep me going. They keep me waking up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, sending text messages and trying to reach out to, people who can support me. And later on in the day, reach out to potential voters who I know would definitely support me on May 14th. That was number three. The fourth reason is this. There is a lot of people in our district, in our constituent, who never understood what politics is all about. There's a lot of people who will vote for the first time because someone actually knocked on their door, someone who looks like them, someone who understands what it means to live as an ordinary person, and explain to them why they're running for Congress, which is something most members of Congress never do. So these things keep me awake in the night and keeps me going during the day. And so those are the things that keep me going. And we will keep going until election day. And I know that it's going to be a victory.
Yep, that's amazing. That's good. Again, the reason behind it, the one thing that resonates me is because you love what you're doing. That is very big. The fact that you love what you're doing is one of the reasons why you have not given up on this journey. I know that you've received backlash. I know that people have told you that, oh, you're such a dreamer. I know all of that. I know that people have told you, you're running for what? Who told you that you can get there? People have said all of those things. But being able to make it this far, as we begin this countdown, just this far, right? It is such an achievement, if you ask me. It is something that I know a lot of people cannot take through. And so again, as soon as I speak, I always just feel like giving you your accolades. I already feel like giving you the congratulations for even daring into this, not only daring and starting it, but taking it to today. I want to say congratulations to you. I know that we got your back. We got your back. And we are talking about support, right? Let's talk a little bit. What do you have to say to the people who come to watch this video, who are watching us now? What kind of support do you need from the people, from your people and the people in your MD4 district? What kind of support do you need from them?
That's an excellent question. There's three kinds of support I would need. Number one is to spread the word. I know that everybody who's watching here knows at least somebody in District 4. And let me just use this opportunity to list some of the cities that comprise of District 4. We have cities like Laurel, Burtonsville, part of Silver Spring, Greenbelt, Lanham, Capitol Heights, District Heights, Bowie, Upper Marlboro, Seabrook, Clinton, Fort Washington, Chilham, and that's just Glen Arden, Glendale. These are the major cities that comprise of District 4, part of Tacoma Park. So I'm sure that anybody listening to this or watching this knows someone in these cities.
I agree.
District 4 has a vast majority of Africans and people who look like you and myself from different countries all over Africa. So the number one thing I would need from anyone watching this now or later on is that they should spread the word. That's one. Second, we need financial contributions. Now, just so you know, for history or for the information of everyone who's watching this, my incumbent was sponsored by AIPAC. AIPAC is an Israeli super PAC with $6 million last election. And in this country, politics is money.
Yep.
So we need financial contributions. Anybody who can donate anything, $5, $10, even $1, it would go a long way to support this campaign. And you could do so by going to gabrielforcongress.com and click on donate, and it will take you through a link where you can follow the steps to chip in whatever you can. It's going to be very helpful. The third and most important is that if you're watching this and you are in District 4, it is critical, it is important that you go out to vote. The early vote is on May 2nd of 2024, and the election day is on May 14th of 2024. Now, they already send out envelopes to fill out forms for those who want to vote in by mail. If you receive such a mail, fill it out, send it back. They will send you a ballot, and you will definitely see Gabriel on there, and make sure you vote for Gabriel on that day. So those are the three critical things I need. But let me add one more thing. We need volunteers. We need people who can help us, knock on doors, send text messages, make some phone calls, and just make some noise.
Yep. You're great. So while you say that, I was trying to get to add the Gabriel for Congress in the comments section and pin it while I find that. And give me a second. I should have been doing that when you were talking. Yeah, but again, if you have anything else to add to that, go ahead and add it while I find GabrielForCongress.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I was gonna say, because one of the things I realized as I go out and talk is that there's a lot of people who are still to find out about our campaign. So the more noise we make, the more sharing we do on all our social media platforms, the more awareness it creates. And people do understand, like ordinary people like you and I in this district, and in fact, in the whole country, realize the importance of putting someone in Congress who can understand what ordinary people are going through. And there are not many such candidates. Most of them are, like I said, were very rich, they're very wealthy, and sure enough, they will only take care of those who sponsor their campaigns. It just makes sense, right? They don't have a choice. So I encourage everybody to go out there and register and vote. Now, that reminds me of something. A lot of times, especially us Africans, we do not really care about the democratic process in this country, a lot of us. And I think that, it's something that we really need to change. That status quo needs to change because, while we sleep, while we work, while we do our other things, you have people literally making decisions that only affect us, not them. And when it comes to the voting time, they will come to you and I and ask for a vote. We will elect them into office, and then we go there and make decisions that don't benefit us. So what is the point, right? So get involved. Get involved in any way you can. And if you need my support, let me know. I will support. I don't care what party you belong to. I will support. The essential element is that one of us has to be on the table when these decisions are made. You're going to have decisions being made about our schools. You're going to have decisions being made about our kids. You're going to have decisions being made about our wages, our environment, our immigration status, our immigration policies. All those decisions are made, and most of the time, even the immigrants who have to deal with this process, none of them are on the table. So how do you expect these things to benefit you when there's nobody to speak for an immigrant? Because I don't think anybody understands the issues that we immigrants face in this country than the immigrants themselves. So we really need to be on that table to get involved. I do understand also that we have to work, we have bills to pay, we have a home to feed, we have to keep the roof over our heads, but everything we do in this country revolves around the law, and someone has to make this law. But you do not want someone who don't understand what you're going through to be the one to make the laws for you, because they will make the laws that affect you, but they will vote for issues that don't benefit you.
Yep. That's true. That's education right there. Again, it's one of the good things about this is that when you come up here and you talk about this thing, you're not only telling us about what you're doing, you're also educating us about how these things work. And again, just to reiterate, I asked Nigebi about how he can be supported. And the first thing is share the word, right? And sharing the word, the example of that here is you sharing this video right now, talking to someone, because my network might not be your network. And so by sharing this video, it gets to someone who is probably in that MD4 area. We heard all the cities he named out. We know somebody if there is somewhere that we have tons of Africans, Cameroonians in this country, it's in Maryland and it's around those areas. So we do have numbers in there. Imagine that every Cameroonian, every African out there went out there. Again, not only this are not only people you're calling to vote, but of course, all the people in that district went out and voted. And we went out and supported our own, right? We talk about support your own in the Cameroonian community. This is an example of how you can support one of Cameroons. You go out there, you share this video, make sure that you reach out to your friends, your families are out there and encourage them to go vote. Secondly, you can donate. I just pinned the comment, his website in the comment section, GabrielForCongress.com. You will see the donate button. It is highlighted. Click on that donate button and give whatever you can give. Again, he's not putting a tag on anything. Whatever you are willing to donate, please kindly make that donation. We all heard that. Again, he's not being sponsored by any of those big names. He's getting sponsored by us, you and I. We are his sponsors. And so please, whatever you can donate, encourage your families, your friends, your loved ones to donate as well. And the third ask we've gotten from Njinimbot today about how we can support him is us being able to go out there and vote. Please, if you are out there in the MD4 area, cast your vote. Again, we all know that it is not enough to go out and hold the flyers or to sit here and talk or to share the video. The most important thing, what counts, what is going to get him into office is that vote that you're going to cast. So it is important, please. Yes, Njinimbot.
Add one more thing about this going out to vote. You see, if you look at the American history, right, you look at the American presidency from the 40s all the way to now, and House of Representatives and the Senate, the people who are in government right now, their parents were in government, okay? Yeah. And let's take, for example, the Kennedys. Yeah. The Kennedys came from Ireland, and their dad, the very first Kennedy who came to this country, understood what it meant to be in politics, understood what it meant to plant a seed in the Kennedy dynasty. And so what he did was, get involved in politics. And that's why you have Ted Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Bob Kennedy, all these Kennedy's family. And if you look at the Cuomo family, they came from Italy and they did the same things. The Jews are doing the same things. The Indians are doing the same things. The Latinos are doing the same things. The Africans
we're learning.
Still learning or still, but we've got to a point in this country where we have the numbers. We have the numbers, and I know there's a tendency for us to just bury our heads in the sand. And as people with strong resilience who travel thousands of miles away to be here, we tend to just, put our head in the sand and do what we do every single day. But I'm telling you, that time is now when we have to get off our slumber, roll our sleeves, put on our boots, and get to work. Put on our boots and plant seeds that our own generation, just like the Kennedys and the Cuomos and the Bushes and the Clintons did for their own, we could do this. If we were able to leave our country and come here and survive and open small businesses and become doctors and nurses and lawyers and psychiatrists and teachers, it means we can do just about anything. But we've always been known, we've always been told or made to understand that those high offices are not meant for us. Yeah. It's meant where we belong is in the nursing homes, in the hospitals, in IT, in law, and things like that. But I do believe that it is time. That time is now. It is our moment to get up and do the things that we have not done, most especially for our own children, for the next generation. Because if we don't pave the way and show them that not just super PACs, big corporations can sponsor and win elections, that we can do it, they would never think that way. But when you look in the African community, in the immigration community, in the ordinary working class community, All the children, the brown skin, even the white skin kids, those are your future presidents, governors, senators, and congressmen. In the House of Representatives, in the Senate,
Yeah.
everybody, most people there are in their 80s and the 90s. Look at our two potential presidential candidates. They're all in their 80s, as if, there's nobody who can do what they're doing. But trust and believe me, we all can do this. However, we need to start from somewhere. We have to get involved. We have to get involved in the politics of this country. We have to go out and vote. I know there's a lot of people listening to us right now who are United States citizens and are not even registered to vote. But they complain when they earn a minimum wage or when they work 16 hours at jobs that don't offer better insurance. Or they complain when it's time to send their kids to college, the tuition is over the roof. However, if we have 10, 15, 20 of us across this country in the United States Senate or in the House of Representatives, that's the place where the laws are made and can be changed. And the way the House of Reps work and the Senate, you cannot function alone and win. That's why they call them packs. That's why lions don't fight by themselves. They always go in a pack because they always win. So me winning the Congress in May is not sufficient. It should mean that, we should be happy that, this Gabriel won the Congress and then, we can't do much. No. If and when Gabriel wins the Congress in May, Gabriel needs 25 more people across the nation to run for that same position, win, so we can affect change both here and back home. That's what it's all about. We need to rise above the challenge and get involved and run and win.
Yep, 100%. And the only way we can win and the only way we can actually say, yes, Gabriel made it, is if we cast the vote. Right? It's about casting the vote. And that reiteration was being made on that point. I'm like, please go out and vote. If you're not registered to vote yet, man, you're living in America, you're not voting there, and you have the power to be able to determine who makes the decisions that affect you. So you should be able to register. In fact, you should make sure you must be registered to vote, and please go out and cast your votes. It is very, very important. And again, go ahead, Ngabi. Yeah.
Those who are not necessarily in District 4, any you live in this United States of America, go out and vote.
Yeah.
Your vote actually counts. Unlike in some places where it doesn't, here it truly counts. It can make a difference. It can make a difference on your wage, on your child, on your mom, on your dad, on the job you work at, the environment you live in, the taxes you pay, your mortgages, your cell phone bills. These votes do count. Like, they literally do count, but you have to go out and vote. You definitely have to go out. And it's free. It's free. Registration is free. Voting is free. So go out and vote.
Yep, we hear that. It's a good call out. Nigabia, we've heard all of these things here. One of the most important things I wanted us to talk about here is get your journey so far, where you are on this journey. And again, based on what you've told us, everything is going well. And we still continue to call on people to support and in the one of the three or all of the three ways that I just enumerated. And hey, to continue, most importantly, please continue to make your donations, because this is not something that he can do with an empty pocket. Okay, this is something that needs the funds, and this funding is going to come from us. We are the people funding this. We are his own millionaires. All his millions or whatever he needs to run this will come from us. So please, let's continue to support him in the best way that we can. Yeah, Nigabi, let's switch gears a little bit. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about why we should do this. Again, we just called on people to support you. We just called on people to make donations for you. We just called on people. You just encourage our fellow brothers and sisters to go out there and register and vote. Why? Why should we vote for Nikebi, right? Why should we say that, hey, you are our candidate? Why should we go out there and cast that vote and say, yes, we are here today to vote and Gabriel Njinimbot is our candidate? Convince us.
So let me convince you. That's
Yes.
actually a very great question. Listen, I just gave you an example of my incumbent. There's a saying, I don't know, maybe it transcends cultures and even continents. There's a saying that a horse only eats where it is tied, right? If you tie a goat here, it would eat in that surrounding environment. That's what's happening with American politics. Most members of Congress get paid by when I'm talking about huge corporations and super PACs and lobbies. I just give you an example of my own incumbent. He collected $6 million from someone, right? So think about this. If somebody gives you $6 million, you have to fight for him, right? So these members of Congress have to fight for those who sponsor their campaign to be in office. On the contrary, you need to vote for me because, one, there is 100% guarantee that I would only fight for what is of interest to you. Period. At the end, I can 100% assure you that I'm not going to take $6 million from anyone who's going to pull me out of the community I belong to. And I know this because there's people in our community who need help the most. If you go to the schools, you can see it. If you go to the hospitals, you can see it. If you go to the malls, you can see it. If you talk to small business owners, you can see it. If you talk to senior citizens, you can see it. If you talk to patients, you can see it. If you talk to immigrants, you can see it. If you talk to janitors and trash truck drivers and police officers and firefighters, they will tell you that they need proper representation, somebody who understands what it means to be poor, somebody who understands what it means to be broke, somebody who understands what it means to work in a restaurant as a waiter and earn a $2 tip in 5 hours. So these are the kind of representation that you need in Congress because they cannot forget because they have experienced it themselves. I have experienced it. So I'm your candidate of choice because I know what you are going through. I will be your representation. I will be your voice in this Congress because I know what you're going through.
I was hoping that you were going to speak for another 5 minutes, but it shows that you know what you would do already. You've probably said this so many times. You've probably carved out a working plan. You've carved out, how can I call this, a plan for what you're going to do so well that, again, you can just spit it out a couple of sentences out there. And yes, thank you for saying that, because so when people go out to do things like this, they want to know why they're doing it. They want to be able to say, hey, why him over this other person? And that is why I asked you that question. That's why I wanted you to be able to speak it out. And so I can hold you to your word. You see, I took myself off the screen so that I can hold you to your word and say, hey, Nigebi, that was you talking, or Social Babes was on the screen, was you alone? And this is a promise you made to us, and we're going to hold you to it. That's why I got myself out. So amazing. So is there anything else you want us to talk about before I go into like my strictly podcast questions? Is there anything else you wanted to bring up on our chat today?
I just wanted to let everybody who's watching again, I would like to emphasize that it is time for us to get involved. This is our own moment. This is our time. The fact that I put up my neck for this, it's not for me. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you watching. It has everything to do with our teachers. It has everything to do with our immigrants. It has everything to do with our small business owners. It has everything to do with the ordinary guy on the street who struggles to live. I'll tell you a short story of a guy who, even though he's white, sometimes we think that everything, is okay for people who don't look like us simply because they're white. But I met this guy who, with his wife, they struggle every day to live by picking up scrap metals
and taking it to the scrap yard and selling it. And he was in tears because his wife, in the process of having their only child, had a stroke in that process. And he explained that to me. I sympathize with him. But even worse, he was driving a vehicle that had a hole in the gas tank, and he could only put $10 worth of gas in his tank. $10 worth of gas in his tank. So, and you wonder, is this in America that this is happening? It is in America. And his story mimics other stories of people who live in tent cities, people who live under the bridges in this country, people who work 3 to 4 jobs in order to survive, to keep a roof over their head, to make sure that the kids can go to school and achieve their own dreams, and also watch their kids grow to become men and women. The story transcends mainstream America, not just in District 4, of people who leave their homeland and brave the jungles and the high seas to come to this country that is a magnificent country. But then they get hit with life. And the government is supposed to be there for people when they cannot help themselves. The government is supposed to be there for people when they cannot protect themselves. But when you have people who run for office because they want to run for office, not because they care about society's problems, the problems that our ordinary people face, but because they want to support the interests of people who are already very wealthy, while the middle class folks, people below the poverty belt, struggle with the crumbs. It is time for you and I to wake up. Wake up, because if you and I don't, especially for our own community, for our own children, no one is going to do it. The former governor of New York, he's of late, Mario Cuomo, did describe ordinary people as people who are not too rich to be worry-free, but not so poor to be on welfare. Country, there's people who are not so rich to be worry-free, but these same people should not be on welfare in this country, because there are ways and means of helping ordinary people in this country. But it begins by who is representing these folks in office. If we vote for bills that will sponsor wars across the ocean, across the desert for billions of dollars, when I say billions, in some cases when when you put up tax money on everything, it's in the trillions. Sponsoring wars across the ocean is in the trillions. Whereas we have teachers in our public schools using the meager salary they make
to buy
supplies for the students in America in 2024. And we call ourselves a superpower. It makes no sense. So all of this can change. All of this can only change if we have true representatives in the House of Representatives. People who truly represent us. Now, America has always been referred to as the most powerful military on earth. And truly so, it is the most powerful military on earth. But what is it of the most powerful military on earth when its own people are living under the bridges? Its teachers, the teachers who teach doctors, and lawyers, and presidents, and senators, members of Congress, barely survive taking care of future doctors, future Americans, people who will run this country when you and I are no longer alive. And what does it take if we call ourselves a superpower and the basics are not being taken care of? That in turn could undermine the superpower military that America calls itself. So we really have to stop and think and look back and say those that matter needs to be taken care of. Because if we stand up, a lot can change. If we don't stand up, a lot is not going to change. So, for everyone listening, I need you to stop and think before you cast a vote into any elected office. Do some homework. Find out what this representative represents. Do they truly represent your interests, or they represent the pockets of those who are already rich to make laws that affect you in a negative way than improve your welfare or your well-being and that of your family? It's not just a matter of casting votes, because people tend to just cast votes without paying attention, without looking into the records, without listening to what's been going on. And they cast a vote and they wonder why things don't really change when it comes to their own welfare and their own well-being for decades. So, my fellow citizens, I am encouraging you to get involved in the process by, number one, being thankful about the fact that you are a citizen of this nation. Two, vote. And when you vote, no one's going to come and knock on your door to ask you why you didn't vote or you didn't vote for a certain person or not. So go out and vote. And three, do your homework and look around you. And in some cases, you should run as well. File the paperwork. It's not rocket science. I did it, so anybody could do it. File the paperwork. Run for city council, for mayor, for county council, for state representative, for state delegate, and why not for president? You have people who are born in this country, and they can run for president. So this is our time. This is our moment. We shouldn't act like, time is waiting for us. It is not. Because if the people who fought for our freedom, the freedom you and I have today, walking around and running for office and walking and going the places we go, if the people who fought for this freedom sat on their wheels and their laurels, we wouldn't be enjoying this today. Now, the fundamental question now becomes, what is it that we will leave behind to the next generation? The planes we fly today, we didn't build it. The roads we drive on, we didn't construct it. The cars we're driving, we never built it. What is it that we are going to leave to the next generation to pave their own way to success, and also have them leave another way, a path to success to the generation behind them? But it has to start from us. It has to start from us, and 100 days from today, we need to come back here and say, yes, we did it.
Yes. I'm already so excited about that. I'm already so excited about that. Nigebi, thank you so much. And again, we've spoken about this run. We've spoken about what you're doing out there. And I want to bring this back. I want to narrow a little bit back into our space a little bit. Is there anything else you want to talk about the whole run on the Congress? Otherwise, I want to bring you back into our little space, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Good? All right, awesome. So the reason I want to do this is because we talk about leadership. We're looking at leaders, right? We're looking at what I am learning from you as a leader, right? We're looking at what another young man out there is looking at you, it's watching you, another young woman looking at you, watching you, and how it inspires them to want to do more, how it inspires them into this whole leaders of today, the whole leadership thing. But again, before the way that's the perspective I want you to look at this in. And one of the things that is actually eating, they call it a cankerworm, that is eating into our community today, be it Africa, Cameroon in particular, is what our youths out here, the kind of life that our youths out here have chosen to live. You came into the US 25 years ago with what we call your $100, which today is what most people spend in a fast food restaurant. That is what you came into the US with. A family of 5 who spend that money out there without not even up to 5. It would not do much, right? You came in here, you had your struggles, you did what you had to do. You got engaged, you learned a ton of things, you tried a ton of things. One of the things that I always say, Tayo and I together, is our seafood restaurant experience. And I always say it, I still appreciate and I love the fact that I worked in a restaurant when I came into the US, just like you. You did what you did. You were able to earn the money you earned. You had a family, got married to your wife, have your beautiful kids, and they're all grown ups today. Today, what happens in our community is we, as young people who have come into the US way after you, I'll be clocking 10 years next year. There are people who have come in and they are like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago. There is that challenge for young people to be able to be responsible. We make, like the young people who come into the US today tend to make a lot more money than you did when you came into the US. That is because change has happened. That is because things are evolving. Right. That is because the way the Internet of Things has taken over. People, you come in here, if you have the ability to again, I love to talk about the tech space because that is the space I transitioned into. If you come into the US, let's say you are a developer, you're a software developer. You don't need to have anything too special. The moment you can convince a company that, hey, I can build this, they will hire you and they'll pay you that money. So what happens is that the young people who come into the US today are exposed to a lot more money than those of you who came many years ago. But then there is still that challenge of I don't want to call it a standard of living, but I want to call it a quality of life that people are living out here, that our Cameroonians are living out here. Most of our Cameroonians out here would tend to be able to make this kind of money I'm talking about. You hear young men and women come out and say, hey, we are the 6-figure earners. Hey, we are this. Those are the kinds of things that they celebrate. Those are the kinds of things that they put their value in. Those are the kinds of things that they feel it's important to them. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It is a good thing that we can make this amount of money as young people in the United States. But then being a senior that has lived through this system, you have built a name for you. You have been able to put together the paperwork you just told us about, and you were able to run for Congress. I want you to talk to these young people out here who get carried away, those of us who get carried away by how much money we get paid, and we tend to lead reckless lives. We tend to have all the DUIs. We tend to be called in for, we are soiling our records just because we are able to make this money in the US. The reason you can do what you can do, you're doing today, is because you kept the record. You were able to, you are credible. And how do you build credibility? Is just being sure that you stay out of trouble. So I want you to be able to talk to the young people out here, especially those of us, those who have come in new and they are still just carried away by this whole excitement of being in America. And they don't really care. They don't know that years from now, they could be looking forward to do something amazing, but they will be called back and said, hey, you have to make sure this gets clear. You have to wait until this gets cleared off your record and stuff like that. I don't want to talk too much because this is a whole topic that has bothered me a lot, but having the opportunity to talk to someone like you today, please, I would love for you to throw your word, to just speak to us, speak to this Cameroonian, to this African that has immigrated into the US and finds himself in a position where most of them are confused. If you ask me, they are not sure of what they are doing. If you were to advise them, what would you tell them?
That's actually a lot to unpack. And I agree with a lot of the things you just said. What I would say based on my own experience is that, number one, America is in a computer. This whole country is literally wrapped up into a small hat. It's in a little system. That's why they call it a system, right? Mm-hmm. You have to understand the system, and it's a very, very complex system. And it's almost impossible for anybody to understand the whole thing. But everyone, especially people that look like you and I in skin color, and people who come from the regions that we come from, there's two things you have to really pay attention to in America. Yeah, actually two things. Number one, be on the right side of the law. The laws in this country don't have sympathy, especially, and you've heard about the injustices of the justice system in America. Be it credit, be it, it's all about the law, right? Mm-hmm. If you yourself on the wrong side of the law. It doesn't matter who you are. They say that the wheels of justice in this system, in America is slow, but it grinds.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you do, it will catch up on you at some point. Might not be
Yep.
today, might not be tomorrow, it might be next year. But every time you pick the very fast lane, there's something you will miss. It's like, think about it when you're driving on a highway at 90 miles per hour. There's a lot you don't see. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, you can easily miss your exit when you drive that fast and you have to make any adjustments. And when you miss your exit, it takes a very long time to come back to that exit.
Yep.
And in terms of life, it could take decades. So when us as immigrants, we come in here, this is based on my experience, it's always good to slow down and go through the process. Because if you skip the process might go through you when you are not ready. But there's always, again, likening it to us driving on a highway. When you drive at the speed limit, if you need to adjust in terms of switching lanes to get on your exit, you can easily do that without creating chaos on the highway.
Yeah.
The other thing I caught when you said was, every time you get paid, I heard you said they get paid a certain amount of money, be it 6 figures, be it 12 figures. Every time you are paid to do something in the American system, anything can happen in a fraction of a second. And you can lose your 6 figures. And just so also you know, don't count it on as a 6 figure until the year runs out. It's not 6 figures until it's year end.
Yep.
So do not say I make 6 figures in February because it's not December yet.
That's right.
And so in that regard, whatever you do should not be measured on a 6 figure basis because you don't have 6 figures yet. And, not to be a financial advisor in this case, but personally, I always like to cut my coat according to my size. That's the way I look at it.
Yep.
I'm not saying that everybody should cut their coat according to their size like myself, but that's just the way I do it to stay in my little safety zone, not comfort zone, but safety zone. But yeah, I would recommend to everybody who comes into the country to understand this, try as much as possible to understand the system and be on the right side of the law. I don't think that's very difficult to do because some of the things are very obvious. Like most of the time when people do things that are not on the right side of the law, they know it's not on the right side of the law, but they still do it, assuming that they're never going to get caught or the system. No, not in the American system. If they need to catch you, they will catch you. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you use the phones or not. Once you come in through this country, especially legally or even illegally, and then you go through any kind of, you get keyed into any kind of keyboard in this country, it's a wrap. They can get you if they want. So I don't know what else to say when it comes to that regard, but I would sum it up by saying that try as much as possible to be on the right side of the law and on the right side of life.
Yep. Amazing. Again, I know I threw that at you. Surprised I did not prep you for this, but of course, I have seen you. I know the kind of life you live. I've met you in person. I used to live in Maryland. I met you at your business places and all of that. So I know for sure that you are one person that has gone through the system. And the fact that you're doing what you're doing today is just, to me, something that a lot of us as young people, we need to emulate. And that's why I wanted to throw it out at you and just have you speak to it. And I definitely appreciate you for responding to that. Thank you so much. Again, just a quick shout out to all of you who are watching us. I do appreciate you a lot. Please do not hesitate to share the video, send us some hearts. We've all heard from Nigebi what it is like, what he is working on now. And again, we started a countdown today to vote day to election day. And again, it is 100 days from now. And 100 days from now, we're going to come back to you and let you know how things are going. And wherever you are, remember that you can still support this. You can support this journey. You can support this. You can support Nigebi again by spreading the word, donating to his campaign, and also making sure that you go out there to vote. Nigebi, that's all what I had for you today for our catch up. But then I want you again, I always throw it at you because I know you, if there is anything else you'd love to add before we round up the show.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, and thank you for bringing me on the show and helping me with this countdown and everything you've been doing to the community on your podcast. Keep it up because it's very informative. I watch it everywhere. Don't give up on us because we always want to come to the show. And again, and I'll say it again and again, register to vote, go out and vote, and spread the word as much as possible, and also donate to our campaign if you can. And listen, this is about the next generation. This is about us looking back when we get old and say, yeah, we started the movement and now we have 100 members of Congress because of what Gabriel did. That's what it's all about. Because somebody has to start it. Somebody has to be the sacrificial lamb, right? And I choose to be the one. But my sacrifice would go unnoticed if 25 more people don't come behind me and win the Congress in different districts across the United States of America. And I know there's people who could do that. I know there's a lot of resilient people. I know there are people who have stories that's even more crazier than mine. I mean, I give my hats off to the people who brave the high seas and the jungles. I mean, some of us flew in here by plane, even though we had $100 on us. We sat comfortably at 37,000 feet. But there's some people who didn't have the luxury of coming to this country by air. They literally walked.
Yep.
And went through jungles in different countries.
Yep. In order to make it here.
Yes. And so if you find yourself in this land of opportunity where you brave the jungles, the animals, and the wild trees to be here, why should you sleep? You need to take it to the next level. Write a book. Write a book about your journey, because that journey will inspire someone who is back in some remote part of Africa or in some remote part of somewhere in the world looking at it. Inspire somebody else, and not just inspire somebody else by action. Do something that you look behind tomorrow and say, yes, if not because of me, this wouldn't have happened. Let your ceiling be somebody else's floor. Let your city be somebody else's floor where they can launch from there and go to higher heights. That's what it should be about. Because if we all could do that, the world would be a better place.
Amazing. This is beautiful. Nigebi, thank you so much again. Whenever I talk to you, you just make me want to be a better version of me. You just make me realize that, hey, Solange, you can be better. I know you do tell me that I'm doing well, I'm doing great, but I know just thinking of the fact that I have to come on here and talk to you just makes me want to improve, makes me want to be better, and just makes me want to go places. So I do appreciate you so much for taking out your time to come on the podcast and share your journey with us and give us updates on how the campaign is going. Remember that we love you. We have your back. And the people that are listening and the people that are out there who are eligible to vote in MD4, they'll be out there to vote for you. We keep our fingers crossed. We keep trusting God because all of this is by his might. It is because of him that you're able to do what you do. It is through his mercy and his power that you're able to be where you are. And we know that he is on our side as well. So you got this, we got you, and God got you too. Okay? Yes, amazing. If you don't have any other thing to say, thank you again once more, and I will let you go.
Thank you, guys.
Also.
All right.
Thank you, Nigebi.
Thank you.
Hey guys, this is the end of the show. Again, I do appreciate you all who came out and you listened to Nigebi and I talk. 100 days from now, we want to call him Congressman. And that will only happen if we go out there and do what we have to do. Okay, so please do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions regarding this. Do not hesitate to reach out if you want you want to support and maybe you're having issues on the website. I posted GabrielForCongress.com. If you have any questions, anything, please do not hesitate to reach out. There is a whole team out here that is willing to help. And to you out there, all of you who are on the ground that have been supporting Nigebi, please, I want to say thank you to you. Thank you for being on the ground. Thank you for putting in the work. Some of us are supporting from a distance and doing this virtually. But again, we trust that to those of you who are out there, who are on the ground doing this with him, hey, a huge thank you. And once more, thank you for trusting the You Can Be Anything podcast. Thank you for trusting your girls, So Babes. And I look forward to talking to more amazing people like Nigebi. And let's keep doing this, all right? We are big people. Let's keep doing this. And remember, in everything you do, be good to each other. Be kind to the next person you meet out there, because that single act of kindness will go a long way. Thank you all, and I do love you, all right? Thanks, Ed. Bye-bye.